The single biggest problem in the AI journey is it's a 10% technology problem, it's a 20% data problem, it's a 70% people problem.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dialed In podcast, the podcast about AI, customer service, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gadi Shamia, the CEO and co founder of Replicant, a company that automates customer service calls, chats using AI. With me, a special guest from Mumbai today, Tiger, which I only learned is a nickname. Butchering your last name again. I just tried. Okay, that's not. You should say it, and this is not my qualification. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much, Gadi, and I really appreciate your uh, having me join this call. And the way to pronounce my name is Tyagarajan, and
Tyagarajan. Okay, see, I can do it. I just need more.
Tiger is my nickname because even my Indian friends, when I was a kid, could not pronounce my name.
So you grew up in India. I met you in New York. You live in Lisbon, but right now you are somehow back in India. So you're traveling the world. I think the one, maybe just a quick introduction of maybe not an introduction. Tell us about your journey because I found it very fascinating. You're a pioneer in outsourcing. You build outsourcing company pretty much from scratch and going to be really large. So tell me more about this journey.
So, my personal journey started when I did my engineering here in India, and then I did my MBA, and then my first couple of jobs were one with Unilever in sales, consumer products, where I learned how to manage teams and distribution and sales, and then 3 years at Citibank in consumer lending. I then ran the financial services business for Citibank in India, and then GE Capital was entering the country. Jack Welch had decided in 1994 that one of the future countries of strength is going to be India. And he took one person from his broader global team, moved the person to India, and I was the second person who joined him. I switched from Citibank to GE Capital in India, second employee, and my job was to build the consumer financing businesses of GE Capital in India, and that's what I did for 5 years. I was the CEO of the firm. I, formed two joint ventures for consumer finance, auto finance, etc. And then started this business based on a crazy idea. And the idea was we can hire lots of people in India. They're good raw material, but they don't know anything about insurance or lending or credit cards or call center or whatever. And I told the G Capital US team, you teach them, I'll hire them, I'll manage them, and I'll deliver services to you. And I said, come to me for price and stay with me for quality. That was my mantra.
And that was
That was, that was
internally in
1998. Yeah.
GE, and that was
Yeah.
really in GE. And maybe kind of we passed through this really quickly, but I don't know how many people still know or know of the name Jack Welch, the legendary CEO of GE that grew from, I guess, an engineer all the way to the
Yeah.
CEO of this empire. Plug here for his great book Winning, which was a pretty good influence on me when I was first time manager. Yeah, I love this book. Um, so you build an inside outsourcing business inside of GE, but then somehow it become its own entity and
Yeah.
its own empire.
Yeah, so we started in 1998. By 2005, we were 14,000 people. Uh, Business started in India serving the US, but ultimately we set up an operation in Budapest in Hungary, in Mexico, and in Dalian in China to serve the rest of GE in the world. And we were 14,000 people serving the world of GE. And then I went to, at that time, Jeff Immelt, and basically convinced Jeff to spin us off to an independent company so that we can serve other clients. Took us a couple of years to convince him, but 2005 Jan 1, we spun off and became an independent company, private equity owned. And then 2 years later, we listed on the New York Stock Exchange as an independent public company. Uh, Ticker symbol G, and that started the growth journey. So today the company is 5 billion revenue, 130,000 people, 35 countries, across the globe, serving 650, 700 clients, about 300 global 1,000 clients.
So maybe another book plug here. Thinking about this, I'm remembering the World is Flat book by Thomas
Yes,
Friedman, which
yes.
was if anybody have not read it, it's pretty much say with the advent of the internet, everywhere can serve everyone from anywhere in in the world, and it's create a flat world where people can consume services, not only goods as we used to, but consume services everywhere in the world. And India was, of course, a star in this book. Um, so internet brought this revolution of business process outsourcing and ability to source lower cost employees everywhere in the world. Um, what's changed now with AI, which is probably I think everybody's familiar with why we outsourced before, but now we're entering. So if the internet created the BPO, how does the AI revolution going to impact the BPO industry?
Yeah, so Gadi, one thing that was unique about us growing up inside GE at the time that Jack Welch was the leader was Jack was a big believer in Lean and Six Sigma. So when we grew up, right from the beginning, we embraced Lean and Six Sigma. So it became a deep DNA of the company. And therefore, even before today's AI, the DNA of the company has always been I'll take work from you, I will do it cheaper, I will do it on day one lower cost, but every year I'll make it better. I'll deliver more value to you, I'll do it faster, I'll create less defects, I'll have more customer satisfaction because I will use Lean and Six Sigma to make it better. And then, 10 years back, we started using cloud based technologies, SaaS, etc. And today, the era is we'll leverage AI technologies, such as the one you're building and your team is building. Because if we can leverage your technology into our operations, you can completely change it, as you know, and create value for my client. And that's the journey that we've always in. So for us, the AI moment was actually not now, but in 2016. We went and acquired a company that actually did natural language processing of reading balance sheets and P&Ls based out of Boston. And I think we paid lots of dollars to buy it as a multiple of revenue. But we got a great team. And we started experimenting with NLP in 2016. Um, so for us, the chat GPT moment was a moment like for everyone, but it was less of a moment because we were kind of ready for it. We were embracing GPT 1.5, GPT 2 even before that.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. And what when you talk with customers, and so apparently you've done it for many years. We are also veterans. Start working on this product in 2018, launched it in
Mm,
2020. So
mm.
definitely automate phone calls before it was cool. But as a veteran, when you talk with your customers and they talk about their AI strategy, tell me about their three options available to them. One is to go and partner directly with someone like Replicant. The other is get AI through you, and the third is maybe they can build it in house. What do you hear from customers when it comes to how they want to manage it, and who should own, quote unquote, the AI roadmap?
Yeah. So, Gadi, I know you and I talked about this when we met in New York, and I thought it was a great conversation. I think those are the three buckets that you can put a customer into. And, let's start with bucket three. I can do it myself. I think many customers who are large, let's take the top five banks in the world, the top five retailers in the world, we can name all of them, the top five consumer goods companies in the world. Some of the leaders there will say, I'm so big, I can build it myself. I actually would argue, you will argue, no, you can't. And I think the good news is for us, many people are realizing there's only so much they can do. They cannot build 100 different things in AI to use in the company. There's no one AI that you can use in the entire company. If you want to do customer service call center work, you need one type of. If you want to read contracts, that's a different. If you want to manage your HR, that's different. The underlying infrastructure is common, but the solutions are different. And when a company says, I'll build it myself, it takes very long. And the problem in the world today is everything is moving so rapidly You can't waste time. Then there is the group of company that says, I am too small. I'm only $5 billion in revenue, only $5 billion in revenue. I cannot spend $200 million on building 10 AI solutions. So I would like to partner. And I would like to partner with your firm, Gadi, or I'd like to partner with, for example, a firm like me, like our firm in Genpact. And what do I want? I want a technology that I can use today, but you have to convince me that your technology will keep improving because I know that the world of today needs improvement continuously. And two, I actually have a problem. I can't use your technology because I have crap data. So most often, everyone starts with really bad data. So often, firms like Genpact come in and say, "I can help you clean up your data, put it together," and then Genpact would come to you and say, "Gadi, I want to use your technology against this client data that I've just cleaned up, and together we'll solve this problem." I think good news, many companies are realizing that for 90% of the problems, they have to do that. Now, there are 10% of the problems that they would like to own themselves. If you go to a pharma company, they'll say, I want to do R&D myself. It's proprietary. I want to be careful. I want to bring people inside and actually use it. They will use the infrastructure, but they will build the solution themselves. So good news is I think people are realizing, but it's still early days. We all know that it's early days.
Yeah. I actually posted yesterday, there was an MIT research that showed that 93 or 95% of the Gen AI projects that run within companies, the one that try to build themselves, uh, fail to generate any meaningful return.
Yeah.
And that's early days. What I and these statistics, of course, are very different. We would have any single customer if we had a 95% failure rate. We absolutely are on the other side of it, which was a, let's say, 95% success rate. What is your metric? So building internally, pretty hard. Most fail right now. Um, Working with a partner like Replicant, mostly successful. What is your statistic when you are the providing people or labor plus AI?
So, Gadi, I think the answer is going to be different depending on what are you providing. So let's start at the top of the funnel. When a client says, I want to solve this problem and I want to use AI, our learning has been let's sit down and understand what exactly is the problem you're trying to solve. One of the problems that I find is what choices is the client making as where to use AI. Problem number one is the client says, I want to use AI in 50 places in the company. No, no, that's too much. Which are the top three places you want to use right now? And to pick the top three, I normally go back to strategy. Tell me the strategy of the firm. Tell me what is the biggest problem you're trying to solve. What are the biggest opportunity you're trying to capture? So when a customer says, actually, customer renewal is what I want to improve because I lose too many customers. Customer churn is my problem. Then why are you trying to use AI to do supply chain better? Because that's not the CEO's focus is churn. So can we go and figure out why is churn happening? And then you actually go deep into understanding the problem and then figuring out the potential sub problems to solve. And then you say, okay, I think in this case I can use AI. Half the time, you come to the conclusion, I don't need AI here. I can solve the problem without AI. So let's first solve it.
Hmm.
Then you encounter the problem of, I would like to solve it using AI, but my data is in 100 systems and my data is in 35 places. So then we say, can we bring it together a little bit? Can we create connectors? Can we clean up the data because half the data is missing? So you do all of that, and then you say, now let. So by the time you get to the stage where you are bringing in the technology, our success rate is 95%, just as your success rate. The problem is upstream. People make lots of mistakes, no prioritization, hammer searching for a nail. One other problem. I think when a customer says, I want labor benefit, I say, sit down. Is that the only benefit you want? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to save 50 people cost. And I say, but your ROI is not going to be enough. You will spend $1 million, you'll save maybe, in the first year, nothing. And in the second year, you'll save $1 million. Is your CEO going to be happy? You guys make $2 billion profit. Why are you worried about $1 million? Whereas if you solve churn, If you do upsell, cross sell, and all of that, you're going to get $100 million more profit. So I think the world is a little confused on AI is used for eliminating labor, whereas actually, of course, it eliminates labor, it reduces labor, but the real benefit is customer satisfaction, renewals, growth, winning customers, all of those, and people forget that that's actually the bigger game.
Yeah, you're bringing such a great point. I've been selling software for 30 years, and cost is something that I was always train other people to talk about at the end. Like, here's my product.
Yeah,
Let me convince you it's awesome. Let me convince you it solve a great problem for you. And then when we get all the way at the end, we're going to say how much it's going to cost, what's the ROI, and how long it will take to deploy it. And now it sounds like it's almost reversed. People want to first hear about cost saving and then about how great the product is, which to me sound just like you. It's a moment of confusion.
yeah,
We don't know
yeah,
exactly why we bring AI, and your point is so interesting. A company that maybe have a revenue of two billion, looking at saving 2 million, not a bad idea in by itself. And some middle manager somewhere can really
yeah,
get
right.
promotion from saving 2 million, but the CEO, CFO, CIO, none of them care about that.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, one of the most interesting points you just made is how important is it for the C-suite? AI has to be a C-suite initiative. It is. If if your project initiative the C-suite doesn't care about, then you should not do it. If the C-suite cares about it, then you should do it. In which case, it can't be $1 million cost. It's something else. It's much bigger, and your vision has to be bigger. It may start small, but it has to be bigger. The second problem, Gadi, I've noticed, and I would love your reaction. I've had many conversations with very clever people, cleverer than me, very senior, bigger than me, in big companies, great names, who have actually said, okay, Tiger, when you build this AI solution, everything is going to be perfect. So we'll put the switch on and I can make the people go away and it'll all be autonomous. No, 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 no. Remember the definition of AI. It is not deterministic, it is stochastic, it is statistical. There will be a certain error rate. In your business for this ecosystem, you already tolerate a human error rate of 7%. The machine error rate is not going to be zero, it'll be 2%, but it's better than 7%. The client often says, no, 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 this is a machine, I need perfection. No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do the project. I've actually walked out of projects where the customer expects perfection because it's not possible. What people don't understand is AI is amazing because every time you make a mistake, AI learns. So it keeps improving. You hope humans improve over time by learning, but sometimes they don't. But the machine improves. But you can't expect perfection on day one. That's a big problem that I find often disappoints people.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've been discussing the statistical. Such a good point. We're discussing the statistical nature of AI for years and years, and you're right that the first thing that people don't acknowledge is the human error rate and the human hallucination. Um,
yeah, human
People,
hallucination.
customer service agents gave me wrong answers many times, offer me services that cannot be offered. They do it all the time. I think that we're just used to it. It's a devil we know. And I think the other thing that scares people, if because I was trying to be curious about that. Clearly, if I talk to you and you're a customer service leader, we agree that the human error rate is 5, 7, 3, whatever the human error rate, but no one ever told me it's zero or
Yeah,
even 1%. So why are you afraid of AI? And I think that part of it is because it's new. It's this Tesla car accident, the main news where we have 35,000 casualties from car accident
yeah,
every year. Nobody
right.
reports about them. So part of it is because it's new and novel, interesting, and the press makes noise out of it. I think the other is that the people are scared. So here's what I
Yeah,
think genuinely true: people are scared of a central brain that will make
yeah,
the same mistake all over. So if you and I are two agents and you make mistake, but I'm great. I'm never making mistakes or hardly ever make mistakes. Slowly, we're gonna weed you out,
yeah,
and people say, oh, we have the process. We're gonna have QA, and after 2 3 months of bad performance, we're gonna let you go, maybe even 1 month. With AI, they're afraid that the brain will make mistakes across the board. I think that's what people are scared of. But this is the advantage of AI.
yeah. It is
Also,
an
because
advantage.
you teach it across the board. and you
Yeah,
make mistakes
exactly.
across the board, but you teach it across the board. So you don't have to weed out one agent. You have to continue teaching it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
such a good point.
Yeah, so one is the systemic nature of AI is worrying some people, but actually that's one worry. The second worry they have is who is accountable for the mistake. I have 7% error rate, I agree, but I know who to blame, um, right? And I can go after the person. I can tell the regulator, this person made the mistake. We are changing the person. Okay, regulator's happy. Okay, fine. Accountability. Um, the problem with AI, and I think it'll evolve, but right now, I think it's a little difficult to figure out, is the user of the AI responsible? Is the person who's running the service at the top with agents, is that person responsible? Is the writer of the code responsible? Is the person who developed the technology that was deployed? I mean, who's responsible? I don't think the legal framework is clear. It'll become clearer. It'll become clearer because it needs to. One of the interesting examples I use is, I'm sure you know this. We both know this, and I think, yeah, the audience also knows this. Planes can fly autopilot, take off and land without a problem for more than 10 years now. After all, we send flying aircrafts to Mars and land on a dot. And yet, not one commercial jet in the world has ever flown with passengers without a pilot. It's possible to do it, but no one has. Why? Because you and I don't think are going to enter a plane without a pilot. Right? I need an accountable person.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a great point. So I want to ask you two kind of forward looking questions. One is maybe one is more here and now. So there is a bunch of lawmakers on both parties trying to legislate an America First law here that will make call centers announce if their employees are out of the U.S. Will penalize companies if they outsource. What's your take on an impact of such a law on the industry, and not only on you but the industry as a whole,
Yeah, so
if
I'm not
it
so.
passes, of course.
Yeah, so I haven't seen that gather momentum. I don't know, Gadi, if you're seeing it. I haven't seen it gather momentum. It's been talked about for many years over many election cycles, but it's not gathered momentum. One of the reasons it's not gathered momentum is the US runs a surplus on services. Um, for with many countries that the US runs a deficit on products, with the same countries it runs a surplus on services. An example is US runs a surplus with India on services. So the danger in that journey is it may not be as beneficial as product tariff and constraints are. I think the way the government obviously is coming after it is making sure that H-1B visas, the right people, are in the country, are hired with the right capabilities at the right compensation level. I think those are actually good things to do, and that's anyhow going to happen. The second thing is it's very difficult to monitor it, to ensure compliance, to make it easy. After all, goods have to enter through a port. It's physical. Right? There is nothing physical in all the stuff that we do. It's just like
Yeah, is somebody going to
it's
monitor IPs?
yeah, exactly. It's like data just flows around. So I'm hoping that better sense will ultimately prevail. It looks like right now it doesn't seem to be momentum, but maybe you're hearing something different. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, there's a new proposal, and it's hard to know. I totally agree with you that any attempt to legislate services will be pretty complicated given where they are, and I start thinking about what will happen to the agent that just traveled on vacation, work remotely. Do they have to disclose their hey, I'm in Bali this week, but I'm working remotely?
Yeah.
It would be hard to enforce. So maybe my last question is, where do you see the industry in maybe 5 or 10 years? If I imagine you had a vision in
Yeah.
early 2000, and the vision demonstrates a beautifully public company, 5 billion revenue. What's the vision for the industry, maybe for the next 5 to 10 years? How will it look
Yes.
like at 2030?
So, Gadi, I'm going to say a few things and then I would love your reaction. Agree, disagree, shape it for a different perspective. I'll start by saying in every industry in the world, doesn't matter which industry, I think the world is going to get divided into 50-50. If you take the competitive landscape in any industry, 50% of the companies are going to do amazingly well, better than before. The other 50% are dead, meaning not slow death, complete death. Why? Because the first 50% have embraced AI. They have taken your solution. For example, I'm a call center provider, let's say, and we know lots of companies that do historically large teams of people, 200, 300, 400,000 people with call centers across the globe. And there's so many such companies. If one of those companies basically says, I'm going to embrace your technology and I'm going to go back to my clients and I'm going to say, I have 3,000 people providing this service to you, bank. I'm going to find a way to actually bring that down by 75%. And I'm going to actually improve service and I'm going to improve retention rate of your customer. And I'm going to find a way to cross sell more of your products. You got to pay me a little bit more per transaction. So I'm going to make more money per transaction. But the total bill I give you is not going to be $20 million. It's going to be $7 million. My margin is 30%. It used to be 15%. But the total bill has gone down. I'm going to get more market share. I'm going to win more. I'm the future. If, but I have cannibalized myself. On the other hand, if a company says, "Oh, I don't want to do this. It'll cannibalize me. I'm scared," or "Actually, this is not going to work. I'm fine." So it's either ignorance or arrogance. Company's dead. In the old days, if a company says, "I am not yet on the cloud. I will go to the cloud later," it's okay. You can go 2 years later. You're not going to die. If a company says AI is not for me, I think very quickly the company is going to die. So I think that applies to the whole industry, all industries. That applies to all geographies. Obviously, it will take some time in some industries. In our industry, the same thing is going to happen. They're going to be winners and losers, embracers, cannibalizers, aggressive, gutsy, courageous are going to win. The others are going to lose.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And the point you make, I want to underscore it. Moving to cloud was an IT efficiency move.
Yeah,
And it's not, did not really transform anything. The business process was the same. If you work with a project management software on-prem or SAP on-prem and then move to NetSuite in the cloud, maybe there's some minor features here and there. It was a little easier to connect from home, but I connected to our SAP system from home all the way in 2002, well before the
yeah,
cloud.
exactly. Yeah.
There was virtual machines and
Yeah,
many other solutions.
I had teams of people in 1999 connecting to GE's SAP system to make sure the parts that were being ordered by GE aircraft engines from somewhere in Asia was getting delivered on time by going into the SAP system, going to the supplier system, and making sure that the part is in transit. That is a bunch of people doing that kind of a job. In 1999, I could do it. Very slow, latency very high, but it's okay. It worked.
Yeah. So cloud efficiency was about integrations. It's easy to integrate. APIs became easier. No more like SOAP APIs and complex stuff like this, but more open APIs. Also, the ability to find a specific solution for a small problem, which
Yeah,
we did not really have with on-prem.
yeah,
But that's it. It made a change, but it was not transforming. And AI is fundamentally transformative. And I think that you're right. It's going to be quicker, and you're gonna have winners and losers. And I just cannot imagine anyone sits today and say, no, I'm not gonna embrace AI. I think the difference is not between people that want it or don't want it.
yeah,
And even if this exists today, it will disappear in a year. I think the difference is between people that are able to transform and are
yeah,
unable to transform. And I'll tell you, I'll leave you with one story because you're very innovative, and what you guys do is ahead of the game. But I talked with a major European BPO a couple of years ago, and they absolutely had the vision. They said exactly the same thing. We need to be able to sacrifice revenue for profit.
yeah,
We need to be able to be more efficient. And then they went into an RFP that's followed by an RFI, that's followed by choosing a solution that was one of the worst in the industry, failing, building internally, failing, and now like, oh, we're pausing the project. Like literally 2 years of wasted time. So I think it's a little less about who wants it versus who doesn't,
yeah,
but who can change.
yeah. So you nailed it. The single biggest problem in the AI journey is it's a 10% technology problem, it's a 20% data problem, it's a 70% people problem. So how are you going to tackle the people problem? And the people problem is all kinds of problems. And I think the world makes the problem worse by saying AI is going to eliminate jobs. Yeah, it will. But that's not the reason to do it because other jobs are going to get created. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be a painful process, but I am an optimist. Ultimately, new jobs are going to get created. I don't even know what they are. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something I even tell internally to our team. I don't know how, even a
Yeah,
year from now what how your job might look like. It will look
yeah,
different. I don't know
yeah,
exactly in which way.
yeah,
The only advice I can give you is this tiger is gonna run really fast. And actually, I said it, and we gave all Replica employees little tigers. Uh,
yeah.
Ride the tiger, which is very appropriate way to end this podcast. So I want to really thank you for joining while you travel to see family, and thank everybody for dialing in. Until next time.
Thank you, Gadi. Thank you for having me. Great conversation. Thank you.